president in the house. We got your mayor, Jerry Moyo, in the house. We got Congressman Ted Gordon in the house. And the chairwoman of the Democratic Party, our great friend. And all of you are in the house.
We got the president in the house.
We just had our convention in Charlotte, North Carolina. The people could not have been nicer. Michelle, she was pretty good.
She was pretty good.
So I want to give advice to young men out there. When you marry up. President Clinton was amazing. Somebody sent out a tweet right after he spoke. They said, he needs to be made secretary of explaining stuff.
All right.
And then on Thursday, I laid out the stakes in this election.
Yeah.
I know I may be preaching a little bit to the choir, but I want you to know I'm going to need you to then go out and preach to the unconverted. Both sides have now made the argument. And there's a choice that we've got to make. And it's the clearest choice we've seen in a generation. Not just between two candidates or two parties, but a choice between two fundamentally different visions of our future. We want to restore the basic bargain that built the largest middle class and the strongest economy the world's ever known. A bargain that says hard work pays off, and responsibility is rewarded, and everybody does their fair share, and everybody gets a fair shot, and everybody's playing by the same rules, from Main Street to Wall Street to Washington, D.C. That's the basic bargain that led me to run for president. It's what allowed me and Michelle to have extraordinary opportunities in our lives. And we want to make sure the next generation has those same opportunities. And we have just gone through a decade in which jobs were being shipped overseas and families were having trouble making ends meet. They were having to rack up more debt just to pay tuition or fill up a gas tank. And it all culminated in the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. We've spent the last 3.5 years trying to recover from all the damage that was done. And we've made progress, but not enough. We've got more to do. And so now the question is, which direction do we go? The Republicans, they disagree with it. Don't move, vote.
We love you,
boy. They had their convention here in Florida. They talked a lot about me. But they didn't talk a lot about you. They talked about everything they think is wrong in America, but they didn't really talk about how to make it right. They want your vote, but they didn't really talk about their plan. And that's because their plan boils down to tax cuts, got a few regulations, and then some more tax cuts. Tax cuts when times are good, tax cuts when times are bad. Tax cuts when we got a surplus, tax cuts when we have a deficit. Tax cuts to help you lose a few pounds. cuts are improve your life. Whatever's wrong with you, they think tax cuts, especially for folks at the top, will cure all ills. Now, I've cut taxes for folks who need it.
Yes.
For middle class families.
Yes.
For small businesses. But I don't believe another round of tax cuts for millionaires are going to bring jobs back from overseas. I don't think another round of tax cuts for billionaires that involve slashing aid to students to pay for it, or asking middle class families to pay more. But somehow that's going to reduce the deficit or help grow our economy. I certainly don't think that it makes a lot of sense for us to be looking at creating a voucher for Medicare to pay for some tax cuts for folks who don't need them and weren't even asking for them. That's not who we are. That's not how we make progress in this country.
How?
I don't think rolling back regulations on Wall Street so that we don't have another taxpayer-funded bailout is a smart idea. I don't think rolling back health care that is helping Americans all across Florida and all across the country is a good idea. I don't want to go backwards. We have done that. We have done that. It didn't work. We're moving forward. That's why we're waiting for someone to take us from the United States.
That's okay.
I never had. These problems built up over decades. They're going to take more than a few years to solve. But we can move forward in the right direction. And I am confident we've got what it takes.
Yes, you definitely got what it takes.
They've been talking about how America's in decline. They're wrong. We've got the best workers in the world, the best business people in the world.
Yes.
We've got the best universities in the world, the best researchers in the world. We're a young nation. We're a diverse nation. We attract talent from every corner of the globe. So no matter how much the other side, for political reasons, tries to paint things as bleak, don't believe them. There's not another nation on earth that wouldn't trade places with us. Our problems can be solved. Our challenges can be met. The path I offer is harder, but it leads to a better place. I'm asking you to choose that future. I'm asking you to go forward with me. I'm asking you to go forward with me. And let me tell you exactly, let me repeat for those of you who didn't catch it on Thursday, what I'm talking about when I say moving forward. We are going to put together a real, achievable plan to build this economy on a stronger foundation. It starts with no longer shipping jobs overseas. Let's export goods made here in America. After a decade of decline, we've now created 500,000 jobs over the last 2 years just in manufacturing. We reinvented a dying auto industry that's back on top. So we can take Mr. Romney's advice and continue to give even more tax breaks to companies that are shipping jobs overseas, or we can reward companies that are investing in new jobs and new workers and new factories here in the United States. I want to help American factories and small businesses export more. We can create 1 million new manufacturing jobs in the next 4 years. You can make that happen. Second part of our plan, let's control our own energy. Well, after 30 years of inaction, we raised fuel standards so by the middle of the next decade, your cars and trucks will go twice as far on the same gallon of gas. That's good for your pocketbook. It's good for the environment. We've doubled our use of renewable energy, like wind and solar. Today, thousands of Americans have jobs building wind turbines, long-lasting batteries. And today, the United States is less dependent on foreign oil than any time in nearly 2 decades. So, you have a choice. We can build on that progress or we can reverse it like my opponent recommends. I think he's wrong. Don't move, vote. Unlike my opponent, I don't intend to let oil companies write our country's energy plan or endanger our coastlines. And I don't want them to keep collecting $4 billion of corporate welfare from our taxpayers. We've got a better path. We keep investing in wind and solar, clean coal technology, farmers and scientists harnessing new biofuels to power our cars and trucks, construction workers building homes and factories that are more energy efficient, developing a 100-year supply of natural gas. We can cut our oil imports in half by 2020 and support more than 600,000 new jobs in natural gas alone. That's moving forward. Third, we're going to build on the reforms we have initiated and make sure that Americans are getting the chance to get the skills they need to compete in this 21st century economy. You know, education was the key to opportunity for me, key to opportunity for Michelle, key to opportunity for many of you. It's the gateway to a middle-class life. And that's why, for the first time in a generation, we pushed every state almost to answer our call to raise standards for teaching and learning. Some of the worst schools in the nation have made real gains in reading and math. Millions of students are saving money, paying less for college because of the work we did to keep the student loan program on track and improve the Pell Grant program. So, you can take their advice and gun education, or we can decide in the United States no child should have her dream deferred because